So guys, let's jump into it. So who was here last time? Let me see, show of hands. Okay, so we get about 60% attendance. That's pretty good. And so you guys did your homework? Did you guys work on the foundations? Yeah, yeah. Monica's nodding her head. Anybody was able to figure it out, the transactions, the numbers itself? You struggle with it? Tell me more about it, Monica. What was the struggle?
I think with the numbers, it's a numbers game. I know, how many calls, how many showings, how many offers you're writing. But quite honestly, I feel like I have not been tracking that. And I would even say this past week, I've
No.
been, I haven't been tracking how many people I'm seeing, how many calls I'm making, how many conversations, how many showings. I mean, I guess yesterday there was like 5. So I guess that adds up towards however many you need to have to get to your numbers. But I'm trying to figure out an attractive, I mean, anytime you want to incorporate a new habit, I know it has to be easy. Well, not easy-ish. It has to be like attractive, and it has to be kind of like obvious. So maybe I need a more obvious way to remember to like track these numbers. I'm just reading this from a book that I read that these are things that help you keep new habits. But I'm trying to figure out a way. If anyone else is tracking, are you just simply like saying, okay, today I did 5 appointments, and how are you doing that?
It's a great question.
I'm with Monica. I just, you know what? It just seems like, I have the intention to track. I have an intention to do my quarterly tax. But, I don't do it. I don't know. It's just something you have to, I don't know, maybe put on your calendar. I'm struggling with that too, Monica. Time blocking, all that. I know what I'm supposed to do. And I start out, gun ho, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then I don't. So I guess if anybody has any pointers on how to be, I'm consistent with some stuff. I'm consistent with my video. I said, I made I was like, okay, I'm going to do it every Monday. I've done it every Monday for 1.5 years. That I know, now it's become consistent, but I've been doing that for 1.5 years. So I'm sure, if I start something else, I'll be consistent with it. But is anybody consistent with certain things?
I wanted to mention something, kind of like what you said, you've been able to be consistent with what you're doing for the past year. One thing that I found is I wanted to start doing the gym more. So instead of waking up and saying, oh, I want to go to the gym, I'll just have my sneakers and my whole gym outfit at the door. It's just right next to the door, so that you go to the door, the shoes are there, it's easy for the shoes, you put the outfit on, you're at the door. It just makes the whole process a lot easier to get out the door to the gym, because you just kind of set yourself up for it to be easy, obvious, and you're out the door. So I just need like a shoes at the door thing for the tracking.
I'll give you a simpler one to use. And I kind of what you're talking about, Monica, I really like that, because this is almost like a pre-workout routine, right? So if you know any professional athletes, right, before they go into their thing, they always have some type of routine they do. Right. So for you, for example, it could be putting the shoes, making sure you have the clothes ready. Right. So by the time when you wake up, everything is already there. Right. Now, let me ask you this, Maria and Monica, this goes for both of you. When you are making those calls, how does your environment looks? Give me the setting.
I usually sit at this table that I'm at, which is just normal size table in my bedroom. Well, this isn't my bedroom, obviously. And I'm looking at a wall that has a calendar on it, like a whiteboard, and I'll just be here. But I'll be honest, I know I can be a great caller, but I'll usually put on my list call 10 people today of who are in my CRM, and that's kind of, I don't have a list of 100 people to call per day or something.
Yeah. And I think, by the way, it doesn't have to be just calls, right? It could be talk to somebody in person, it could be text, it could be Instagram message, it could be anything and everything, right? A couple things with what you do. Number one, I would suggest you almost never sit when you're making calls. Why is that important, guys?
I think it's better for public speaking. They normally teach you to anytime you're giving sort of oral presentations to just sort of stand, because if it's in person, obviously body language, and 2, I think orally you come off better.
Yeah, I believe that most of the time when you're sitting, you're comfortable, so you're going to come off comfortable, and you're not going to be, you're maybe not performing or responding as how you're supposed to, as to if you're standing up. Then you already have something in your head, you already know what the call is about, what you're doing, and you're not so comfortable because you're already standing. So you're getting to the point of the call and what the call is about, really.
Yeah, and Monica put in the chat actually, and that's so true. It's all about the energy, right? So when you're sitting down like this and you're making your phone calls, your body actually it's kind of like locked in, right? So for the brain to process those words and for the words to actually come out of my mouth, this is going to be restricting it, right? But when I'm free and I'm moving my body, I'm using my hands and the whole movement to try to express myself, it's just going to sound way better, right? So I would say always try to stand up. One thing what you can do, which we do with Josh over here in the morning, Josh knows very well, are you listening to music to really get you in that right zone, right? Because we play a lot of house music over here and disco music, right? So that's a good way. Yeah, absolutely.
When you're on the phone?
Yeah, absolutely. But really important, Monica, you can just get a simple sheet. It can be just a blank sheet of paper and put it right in front of you. So when you're making those calls, you're marking those calls right away. Now that's into consideration that you are making your calls actually from your computer, right? Or from your cell phone when you're in the office. So that's one thing. That's kind of like the simplified version. Now, Josh, do you track your calls?
Do I track them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So our CRM it records the calls for us. So which is really good. So you can see how you did after, right? And what you could work on. And then also we have we use a different system to, record how many calls we do the day, not only calls, showings, appointments, and all of that.
So Josh, actually, he doesn't track his calls, right? But the system tracks it for him. Because when you call from your CRM, and guys, most CRMs, they have that feature, right? When you call from your CRM, the CRM is going to track those calls. And then you can hook it up with your spreadsheet or another system, whatever you use, and that's simply going to transfer those numbers. So you don't have to track it, right?
What CRM do you use?
We use Sierra Interactive, but I believe Chime, you can make calls from Chime as well.
Chime does that too, guys. I don't know. Yeah. You should be utilizing the Chime because it does everything. It does your dialer. It notes the notes while you're making the phone call, whether you're doing it from your cell phone. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful CRM.
Yeah.
You have to learn to do it and then implement it.
You guys ready for some marketing? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes. Everybody loves marketing, right? Why do we love marketing so much, guys?
It's the bread and butter of our business. You market yourself, you market the property, you market everything.
Is it?
Well, it's relationships.
Okay.
But I think marketing is probably over 50% of this.
Is it like, Monica, like marketing, it's the sexy part of the business? It's like the part which most agents are actually excited about, right? And I brought somebody over here actually. I got Ian of Austin over here. Thank you, Ian, for joining in. And Ian, he's absolute rock star when it comes to the short form video and the sexy stuff. So I'll talk about the boring stuff, right? And then at the end, Maria, at the end, then Ian's going to talk about the sexy stuff. Let's talk about marketing, guys, right? So why do you think most marketing fail?
I don't think it's 2022 and beyond marketing, maybe dated marketing techniques.
Okay, outdated techniques.
Marketing to wrong people.
Wrong people. Okay.
John, it's consistency.
Yes, consistency. But what builds consistency, right? Like you've been in the business for a while, and I see this all the time when agents they start this, they start that, they start this, and they start that, and then they never really become consistent with that one thing to get to the result. It starts with poor planning, right? I think the agents, they never really plan it out where they say, Monica, I'm going to start with a geofarm, right? Okay, how big of a geofarm is it going to be? How many homes? What is the turnover rate? Is there another competition? How many homes sold in the past year, right? What is consumption rate? What is going to be the open rate? How many pieces I'm going to need? How much money is going to cost me? And what am I projecting, right? The results to be. So I see that most agents actually, they never come up with the strategies and tactics from the get-go. They kind of just say, let me just do the geofarm and figure it out later. And a couple months into it, they find out that they're not really getting that results they were hoping for. And they jump into expires, or they jump onto TikTok, or whatever the case is. Planning it and structuring it so it's simplified and easy to follow, that's really the key, right? So you know what you got to do when it comes to the marketing. Another thing I want to talk about is, guys, is to reevaluate marketing and assess marketing based upon the returns which it brings, not how it makes you feel. Who over here can tell me what's your biggest marketing source and what type of return are you getting on it? Monica, okay. One person in the whole room. Tell us more about it, Monica.
What's the question again, please?
So the question is, what's your biggest marketing source you have, and what is the exact return on that investment?
I mean, I know it's very controversial, but I've been paying for Zillow Premier, and I'm surprised the whole room didn't go. No, I'm kidding. But I did.
I saw Anthony. He gave the face, and then he was like,
Yeah, I know.
Monica.
I literally gasped. It's okay, Monica.
I have invested around $3,000 to $4,000 so far in Zillow Premier, but I did have about 3 closings from that, which brought in around $30K. So if you think about it, that definitely was like a 10x investment for Zillow. So it kind of has been working for me. And then I just started it up again, focusing on one area where all the listings are anywhere between 1.5 to 3 million. And obviously it's a higher price point monthly, but they've introduced me to about 5 buyers in that area so far, one of which speaks only Chinese. But I mean, if you think about a few $100 a month investment and maybe over the course of a year, but an area that's only these high price points, your ROI is pretty strong. I do know that TikTok has given me some, but like every video I make on TikTok, like I had one person say, hey, like, can I find out more about this? But I mean, just in terms of like, Zillow and putting these, they're generating the most traffic. I think there's even some agents who look for information on listings on Zillow. Like if we're being honest.
Yeah. 100%. You probably get some agents leads out of it as well, right?
Well, not an agent's leads. Well, I guess, yeah. Okay. All right. John. Okay. All right.
That's a great return, right? So you said you spent about 3,000.
Yeah.
About 3,000, right? So Zillow. And I mean, look, you're right. A lot of agents, they'd be like, screw Zillow, Zillow. Like, I don't want to give them my money, but you give them $3,000 and you got $30,000 back.
So 3,000 in what period of time, Monica? Like, what would you say?
I started at a lower price point that was like maybe 6, and literally them calling me right now. That's crazy. But I started off at like a few $100 a month, and from there, I did it for like 6 months, like $600, 6, 12, 18, 36. Okay. Yeah, so it was like $600 a month for 6 months, and then they have a 6-month commitment, and then you stop. And then I stopped because
why did you stop?
Because they had generated me about 400 people in my CRM, and it was almost too many leads as like a newer agent to even manage, and how to follow up with all of these people, and like, Who
wants some leads?
Why not?
Monica.
I'm selling them out. I like chiclets. I don't even know how to figure out who's ready now, who's not ready now, who's ready in 6 months, who's ready in 3 months, who needs help to figure out how they can qualify, so it's.
So this is easy, right? Because, Zillow is super easy. You know how much you spend and you know how much you make. So you can tell this is 10x. And, me and you, I think, Monica, we had a conversation, right? If you don't want to invest into this, I'll invest on your behalf and I'll take percentage of the profits, because that's a freaking great return. I'll do this all day, every day. I mean, how much money I can give you? That's it. But this is straightforward, right? But now, how are we going to calculate the return on, let's say, working your database? How are we going to calculate that, guys? Now, it's, there's 2 costs, Monica, right? There's the money you spend, and there's the time you also spend on it. Do we always calculate the worth of our time into this? Nobody really does, right? But as a businessman or business lady or entrepreneur, right, we should always value our time, because time is the biggest, most expensive amenity we have, right? So how to calculate the time, per hour? Anthony, you made, let's say, $200,000 last year, right? You work 2,000 hours. So you take 200,000 divided by 2,000, it's $100 an hour, right? So you're making about $100 per hour.
My taxes say I made a lot less.
Yeah, I mean, that's before tax. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Unfortunately. I mean, and you live in Pennsylvania. I mean, you should move up to New York and pay even more taxes if you want to California. You get children from California, they have crazy taxes too. Yeah. But let's talk about the database, guys. So when I say database, what do I mean by that?
Our sphere of influence, our past clients, our our everyone that we know, like our baker, our all that stuff, all that that's our sphere and that's our database.
Very good. COI and past clients, right? It's your database. Now we're gonna build the marketing, right? We're gonna build the marketing plan out for you guys. So if you work in your database, right? What can you do for your database to generate a business? What are the marketing points?
Email.
Email, okay. So you can say weekly email, right?
Yeah, or monthly. Some people don't like to get a lot of emails.
Yes, if the stuff is no good, absolutely not.
Yeah.
If the stuff is relevant and it's kick-ass, send it all day, right? So if it's weekly email, that means they're going to get how many?
52.
Right? 52 touches right there. Okay, what else can we do?
Happy holidays. And, if any holiday comes up, wish them a happy birthday, happy house anniversary.
So you say holidays, you mean email?
Yeah, happy 4th of July, happy Labor, whatever, like anything. Happy Halloween. Halloween's coming up. I'll send a Halloween email to everybody.
Okay, holidays, right? Now that could be email, right?
Monthly text messages.
Could be, you can do text,
A newsletter.
right? Let's say this is 6 into the year. The weekly email, that could be a newsletter, okay? Right here, weekly one. Now, what about the holidays? Can you do like a postcard or something?
I've done that. Yep.
Yeah, you can.
Thank you cards.
Thank you cards. I think Maria, you said birthdays. Birthday was postcard, phone call, video call, door knock, taking them out for dinner, taking them to Caribbeans. How are you going to do it?
Go for coffee. Call them and ask them. Say, I've called people after I've closed on a deal and said, "Oh, can I come over for coffee?"
Absolutely. No, I mean, coffee.
I just got invited to a birthday celebration, 81st birthday celebration, to one of the people I did a rental for. I listed her rental and she sent me an invitation, and then I got another invitation for somebody else. Like people invite me to things.
Mm-hmm.
Be top of mind.
That's exactly what it is. Be on top of mind, right? So you can do video, you can do postcard, right? 101. What else can you do?
Client appreciation dinner or cocktail.
Yes, client parties, let's call it.
And you could get sponsors to help you with this, so you don't have to pay for everything yourself if you want to.
Yes. So so those are the little tactics, Maria. Right? We'll come up with the strategies first, and then we're gonna have to break that down as well. Right?
Yeah, deliver a pie for Thanksgiving.
What do we call those guys?
Popeyes.
Popeyes. Yeah, I don't know where that name comes from. Popeyes. Why Popeyes? It almost sounds like a drive-by.
I know.
So you can do Popeyes as well. Past clients and center of influence. In terms of marketing to your database, loving on your database, what can you do? Right? And we have a lot of things already, and I bet you most of you doesn't do all of those things. How about home anniversary, CMA?
Home anniversary can be put into your CRM, right? Yeah, I guess.
Right. Yes, you can. And birthday too. So the key, Monica, is you wanna automate as much as you can, hopefully. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's all getting done by itself. You don't have to really worry about it as much. What else can you do? I wanna hear something outside the box.
Oh, contests. I've done a contest.
Okay. Tell me more about it.
I did. Well, it didn't go so well, but I tried.
So let's not talk about it then.
No. You know what? It could be better. It could have been better. I learned from it. So what I did was I went to the local, did this local donut shop called Doology. And I bought a gift card for like $25, and you promoted it on Facebook, and I said, "Oh, like my page, share it." And believe it or not, the person that won it, I was actually excited about, because she's already giving me like 3 referrals. She's the one that won it. So, at least it's top of mind. It keeps people top of mind. People saw it, not a lot of people entered.
So the contest, they're really good, actually. I like the contest a lot.
maybe like a trick or trunk. I saw another agent do that. What is it called? Like trunk or treat or something? Somebody organized one of those. You know, like where everybody comes in a car in like a parking lot and they decorate their trunk for Halloween and they give out candy to the kids. I saw a parent do that. You could do like set up a booth at a festival.
Mm-hmm. What about like a community events?
There was another agent that like got a booth at a community event. Except I walked around at the community event and I talked to more people than she did. So yeah, I took pictures. You saw my pictures, right, John?
You should just tag along. You tell her you do the events and just tag along. That's it.
So I do community events in my area, and I'm getting a new booth this year. But I also do. It's just one event every time. It's Yardley Harvest Day in Bucks County, and then every year I hand out water bottles throughout and on the water bottles I have the labels. I have one here. So on the water bottles I have the QR code. Now, how often do they, scan the water bottles? Who knows? It's in the back. It's underneath their car seat for 3 weeks or 3 months. But it's on a hot day. It's free. It costs me, a couple $100 with water and the labeling, and a lot of times, sometimes you can get it ahead of time. They'll do it for you. But I hand out the waters. I hand out 1,000 bottles every year, and that's at least one event. So a couple events I do that, and then it goes links to my website, and then go on from there. So.
Oh, I have a good idea for you, Anthony. You could tell people, like you could have somebody working with you and say, scan my QR code for a free water bottle. And on a hot day, how many people are going to scan that QR code?
Yeah, you know what? But it's so hot, these events, and then everyone else is buying water. So I'm handing them out.
Right. So you could have a free water bottle if you scan the code and like the page.
Yeah. No, I like that. I also have a couple of contests running at that. It's very with our area, we're not allowed to do many contests. They're very strict on our end in Pennsylvania with contests. So just a heads up about that. Check your area.
So I would say this is your degree of separation, right? Because a lot of these items, a lot of the agents, they kind of doing it already. So how do you set yourself apart, right? So like doing the community events, that's great. But if you do one event in Tony and then you don't do the events, for 2 years, are they going to remember you? They won't, right? But if you're going to be known for the community events, if you want to become that person, and that's your degree of separation, then that's going to work. Who was able to come up with a list of marketing things they want to do? Everybody has a list. Now, why do you think we fall short on that list?
I think overload usually leads to no execution. When it's like, I could do 10 things, somehow that turns into no things. But if you say I can do one thing, then it's like, I can do one thing.
So is it poor planning?
It's probably poor planning.
I'm going to share something with you guys, which I think is going to help you. This is a free app, and you can get whatever app you want, but this is the one we use. This is AIRTABLE. And what you can do, you can write down the marketing points you want to do. You assign it to the source. You assign it, to the person who's responsible. You have the cost for it. You have the goals over here. But most important, you have the due date on it. Really important, because guys, keep in mind, some of these items you're already doing, right? And they pretty much going itself. Some of these items, you still have to polish them. You have to still work on it. So if it's not in your schedule, right? If it's not scheduled, it's not going to happen. So I would suggest, when you come up with your marketing, make sure that you have a start date, when you're going to actually start working on that piece, who's responsible for it, what's the cost, what's the expected outcome, and when it's actually going out.
I like that. First time home buyer seminar. I did that this year too, and I did a seller seminar. That's good marketing too. And
that you can use to your database as well, right? So that's a one sheet I really want you to come up with, okay? And the second sheet is this. This is super simple, right? Yet very effective, because you really want to know, where do you generate your leads from every single day? How many leads did you get off social? How many leads did you get off Zillow? And then you can go back and you can say, okay, I got 20 leads from social media, right? And I spent $1,000. It's about $5 per lead. And I close about $25,000 in commission. It's 25x. Then very easy, you can look back and say, okay, how did I do this year? What sources actually worked? And how much did I spend for it? and which sources will complete waste of time and money. Because let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of sources where you're spending money and you're thinking you're getting something, but in reality, you're really getting nothing. So to calculate the cost, it's easy. Back to the $100 per hour, right? If you wanna be even more diligent, I would also calculate, how much time do you have to spend on this to put this together? Okay, if you spend 10 hours times $100, it's about $1,000 it costs you. So you have to value your time, guys. If you don't value your time, how can you expect the buyer and seller to value your time? Impossible. So it always starts with you, because I want to really give some space to Ian, because I don't want you to miss on this.
Hey everybody, I go by Ian of Austin everywhere on the internet. I'm excited to share, I think, some things that will help you just come up with new ideas. Everybody says marketing is how you make money, marketing is how you generate clients. But I think what happens is a lot of people have ideas and they don't know how to execute on these ideas. And so I think I want to go around and kind of ask what some of these ideas are that you have that you haven't executed on, and maybe you need a reason why or a plan to execute on them. So Monica, do you have, I heard you say you had 400 leads in Zillow, right? So my first thought when I heard that was, I think John had even mentioned sell them out. But seriously, that's all that Zillow's doing. You have how many agents on this call right now that if you just had a referral system set up, you could seriously make probably hundreds of thousands of dollars just by referring them out for not even 25%. Seriously, for 15%. I mean, obviously you run your business how you want, but it hurts me, it pains me, because I am in that situation. I have thousands of leads that end up doing the same thing, that just people that fall away. So then the question I would have is, what is the reason you haven't been able to send those out, Monica?
Well, anybody on this call and anyone who I'm definitely available to refer leads. The issue is there's so many that I don't know who is ready now, who is ready later. I don't want to give anyone a lead that's like, oh, I'm looking in 6 months, or I'm not looking anymore. Like, I don't know.
Right, let's hold that thought for just a second.
Yeah.
Natalia, would you take 10 leads from Monica right now, regardless of where they're at?
Sorry. Yes, I would take it, of course.
Done. David, would you take 10 leads from Monica, regardless of where they're at right now?
I'll take the balance of them.
You take what? All of them?
I'll take the balance. I'll take them all.
All right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think you're overthinking it, because I've been, again, in that situation so much where I was overthinking. This would be a great opportunity for everybody to sit and cross connect. And I know that's one reason John brought everybody together. So make sure you cross connect and DM. I saw some hands going up. Maria, did you have a hand go up?
Oh, no. I mean, I just noticed you're in Westchester, Monica, right? So I'm
in New York, the greater area, but I focus on Westchester, I would say.
So why don't you consider like a newer agent, like speaking to your broker and saying, hey, is there a newer agent that I could, give some leads to, and, be kind of like a mentor too, and make percentage like 20% or something off of them, and just train them at the same time.
That's a good idea.
And then I find like training too, or mentoring, it actually sharpens your skills too. So I offer, like, a lot of people, I know I've met a lot of real estate agents. See, that's what I love, John. They don't want to share like anything they do. And, like people like John, it's, like if you ask him a question, he's going to answer you honestly. This is what I do. This is how I do my leads. And I'm willing to share my things because I feel like, hey, you know what? There's enough business to go around. I'm not like the listing agent. Oh, that's my house I'm focusing on. No. There's so many houses out there, so I feel like, anyway, but whatever, that's a whole other story.
That's a really good point, Maria. I think there is not, you can be in the scarcity mindset, right? Because you as an agent not sharing for whatever reasons, it's affecting you first, because that's the way you see the world. And how you see the world, it's not only what you give out, but it's also what you receive. On the other hand, right? So I think in order for you to be a receiver, you have to be a giver too, right? You can be just receiving, because then you have no space really for more stuff to receive. Don't overthink it, just share it, money. I think I already saw like 2 people in the chat. Send me those leads, I take them all. So
okay. I think that's huge. I think the next part of that is when we go to these gatherings, when we go to whether they're book clubs in person, whether they're coffee meetups, whether they're any other social event, how do you stay connected with people. I think a lot of people have all these grandiose plans to get together and they never actually connect, right? They never actually get any contact information. They might grab business cards and then those go in the trash, right? They might get an Instagram name and then nothing happens from there. So the next thing I would recommend for everybody to do is have some way to connect digitally as well as tangibly. And so where I'm going to go with that is, if you see, I posted one of my digital business cards in the chat, and some of you have seen it. It's like a link tree. It's a way to share a bunch of different links to your social media or your contact information. And so you also have just a social media platform that you spend time on. So an example is Instagram. How many of you use Instagram? How many of you spend more time on Facebook than Instagram? I want to see those hands. Oh, good. Oh, really? I'm surprised on that. All right. How many of you spend a lot of time on TikTok?
What's TikTok?
What is TikTok?
No.
It's an interesting platform. There's a lot to talk about. It's a great short form platform to grow quickly and widely, but then honing it in and turning it into actual conversions is a different conversation. How about YouTube? How many of you are on YouTube? Yeah? Okay, so a few of you are on YouTube. The thing about YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook is that, well, let's start with YouTube and TikTok. How do people reach you if you're on YouTube?
They call you. I've had somebody call me from YouTube.
I made about $500,000 last year in YouTube leads in business from YouTube. So I've done a lot of YouTube business, but what I've noticed is that they have to have a way to be able to reach you directly, right? And the way to reach you directly is usually through, if you have provided an accurate phone number, but if they don't do that, then they'll find you on another platform. If you're on TikTok, it's the same thing. So you can hop on TikTok and you can see contact information, but it also links you back to other social media platforms. Instagram is one of the best ways that I didn't really leverage that they can direct connect with you. It's kind of interesting when you look at that, right? So Instagram has DMs. TikTok only has one-way DMs, unless you're both following each other. Kind of important. YouTube, and I don't know if people are following this, but just this week are offering @ handles. So everybody, if you are on YouTube, you want to go ahead and claim your @. So I'll be @Ian of Austin, like I am across the board everywhere else on YouTube. Yeah, that's new. That's a new feature. So, and that's something that I'm going to recommend for everybody on here. If you are planning on building, and seriously, when I say building your marketing, I'm referring to building your brand and your business around who you want to show up as. And I don't think a lot of people give that enough time and effort or credit, right? They think, well, I can just start doing this and people will see me as that. But if you're not studying the psychology or the psychographics or demographics or any of that of the people that you're trying to connect with, the cadence of your speech, any of that stuff, then it's really hard to actually connect with them. If I said, Josh, and we've done this before, Josh, who's your ideal client? Who are you talking to?
First-time home buyers.
You know how many first-time home buyers there are? Where? In Austin, Texas, where I am? No. Okay, so where at?
Queens and Long Island.
Queens and nice. How much money do they make?
80 to 180,000.
180 to 180. That's great. What kind of food do they eat, Josh?
What kind of food do they eat? It's a good question.
Right? Where do their kids go?
We're so diverse over here, brother. You know what I mean? Everybody eats different foods.
You know, people fall into categories, even if they want to claim to be diverse, right? Where do their kids go to school? Do they have kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
Private school.
That's interesting, right? So private school, is it religious based or non, right? Like that's not a question you have to answer, but you can get so deep in that niche. It's really interesting when you're thinking about your marketing. And when you start going down that path, you're like, okay, well, what colors will attract them, right? Am I using that in my branding? There's just so much to it. So anyway, back to fun stuff.
So if I just met Ian, right? So why is that important? Why is it important to know, like, specifically, you know, who that ideal customer is?
Because when I'm staring at the camera and I'm having a conversation, it's so much better to know who it is that I'm talking to, because the conversation usually flows a little more smoothly. So when I came on here, I had no idea how many people had already been in New York or have been with Real. And so I had to figure that out first. I think it's just important to know who you're talking to. Has anybody ever been on a date or an interview or something like that, and you had no idea who the heck you were talking to? And you're like, well, Tell me about yourself. And that's the silliest question. Nobody likes that. Because you feel like you're put on the spot. And if you're doing anything outward, right? You're not getting feedback from people, then that's how it comes off. And so I think a lot of people, when they're trying to do these videos, they don't have the confidence in what they're delivering and what they're sharing because they don't know. They may know the content, they may understand the content, but they're not comfortable with the delivery because the person's not in front of them, the person that they're talking to. And that's what we're trying to figure out. Who's that person that we're talking to?
I'm probably guilty of that as well, where, I'm trying to shoot a video. I'm like, just broad spectrum, right? I'm not thinking about like specifically age group, male, female, profession, income, where they live, none of that. And it's super important, right? Because people even from Long Island compared to people from Queens or Brooklyn, they just think differently, right? They dress differently. They even talk differently. Not that big difference, Maria, but slight difference there is, right? But how we are addressing those, you're really not. So it was a great point, Ian.
So I wanted to ask you something, Ian. Did you ever encounter though, like I usually get people to talk to me and tell me a lot about themselves. But the other day I encountered somebody that was like, and I wasn't like, it was just, casual conversation. It wasn't like just to get to know the person better, to find out what they're looking for. And it, like when they don't want to share, like what do you do when they just feel like you're being nosy almost? Like what do you guys do when you get to that point?
I think it depends on who I'm talking. Like like
a home buyer, like you're at the house with them, you're asking them a few questions because obviously they want you to guess what they're looking for sometimes, and you're trying to get information out of them, but then they're not giving you anything. So at that point, what do you do?
I shift to grade scale. So I say, all right, 1 to 10. What do you think of this? Scale of 1 to 10, because that removes all personality out of it. And then I go, if it's a 7 or better, then we're going to execute something, right? And if I get to this point and I'm like, so it's a 7, great, let's put in an offer. And they're like, whoa, and I'm like, then you don't know then it's not a 7. Like you shouldn't feel that hesitation on it because this isn't a market where we can play around it.
But I think, Maria, if you have a connection with a buyer, especially if you meet them on one-on-one or over Zoom the very first time and you break the ice and they're feeling super comfortable with you, like that shouldn't be there. Right? Sometimes it can come back. It can come back when there's something maybe you said or didn't do. Maybe you promised them something and didn't deliver on it, right? Like something maybe happened where they kind of questioning the trust now.
Oh, right? Okay. All right. So it's a husband and a wife. The husband feels comfortable with me, but the wife doesn't. Like something like that. So like he'll answer my questions, but she's like very guarded.
I'll put him on the spot, right? I'll look at the wife and I'll say, what do you think he thinks about that? Because then if she answers and he doesn't like it, he'll speak up. And if he does like it, then he just, he'll be fine with it. All right. So I heard someone talk about contests. There's a really cool app called Gleam.io. You can select multiple criteria for people to gain entry to win the raffle. So an example is if I wanted to give away, let's say a $50 Ian of Austin branded Amazon gift card. Did you know you can do that? You can brand yourself on a gift card. So I had the denominations of $50, $100, and $150. And so when I'm giving away the gift card, it can say, if you comment on this post, you get 1 vote. If you share it, it's worth 2 tickets or whatever, tickets instead of votes, right? And so that way it starts to go viral automatically if it's good enough.
So what is that called? Raptical?
That one's called Rafflecopter. Here's the thing, and this goes straight back to what I think Monica was talking about and John had mentioned. And I think, Maria, you mentioned this too. If you don't have the systems in place to be able to manage this, all the leads that are coming in from it and all the conversations, then it just gets overwhelming. But if you can take and focus on something like just Rafflecopter, it is so powerful. Oh my gosh. And then it lets you know if what you're doing is actually worthwhile. I had one for, what was it? Round Rock Monopoly. So we have themed Monopoly boards that you could give out. And you're from New York. You understand how important Monopoly is, right? It's a great game. They have kids versions. They have Star Wars. If you know your client, like you know the clients you're talking about, you see my motorcycle helmet. I've got a It's not a Darth Vader motor. I've got a Predator motorcycle helmet. Like if you knew anything about me, which you would because I'm putting it in your face, that's one of those things that you could leverage to give out to your clients or incentivize your clients to have further conversations, deeper conversations with you. I heard someone else talk about the trunk or treat. That's what it was. Trunk or treat. So I did a trunk or treat the first year of the pandemic, like right as it was starting, which was exciting. We had about 300 people show up. And this is super short. I'm just going to show a couple pictures and then explain it. It was a great turnout. That's me. Like I had to put my hat on my ninja outfit. All right. So anyway, the idea there was I have a buddy who owns a local business, and I'm sure we all have this kind of relationship. He owned the local business and he had this space. He didn't know what to do. He needed people to come in. And I was like, well, I want people to come in and I want it to be community driven. So how did I drive that? So I started off with thinking of an event where people can come to his place and I can just support it. So that's easy, right? I invited other local business owners to set up a trunk. And then there were even other owners that would bring extra candy. So a few of us brought our own candy, but then other business owners would just drop off bags of pre-created candy, pre-grouped candy for us with their business cards in there. So they were getting all of our different little packaging, and it was a way to talk to all the parents and children. And beyond that, here's the clincher was we had a QR code sign up. So we had everybody's email address. That's huge. And then to get a little more excitement, we made sure it was in October, trunk or treat, right? So we had coffee. So we asked the coffee truck to come. And then we asked the snow cone machine, just in case it was hot because it's Texas, to come. And then we had some light, I think a barbecue truck come. And if they know that that's going to be a decent amount of turnout, they won't charge you for it. Or maybe they'll charge a deposit of $50. So we had 3 food trucks and then QR codes to capture everybody's contact information. I think we also gave out a raffle and it was just great. And then we did a pet contest too. So pet costumes, people costumes, everybody was happy. It was a free event. We got everybody's email addresses. It was an incredible turnout. I think it's one of those things that's really easy to do. I get so excited when I'm talking about this, and I think 100 miles an hour with some of these things. If you use an app like EVENTBRITE, how many of you have used EVENTBRITE to create an event before? Okay, if you use EVENTBRITE, it will act like a social media app. It'll start showing it to other people that are in the area, your event. The same thing goes with Facebook.
And that's for free, by the way, right?
And it's for free. The issue with Facebook is that it really, people have to log in, and there are a lot of people that are hopping off of Facebook now. So it does behoove you to try to have both, and that becomes cumbersome. If you had to choose one, I think EventBrite's a little stronger. Another thing with EventBrite is if you do that, you can post it in Facebook groups if you had to. So there are community groups, like we had one called People of Round Rock, and I posted it in there, the link to it, and I said, hey, free event for all the parents to bring their kids to if they want a family-friendly, COVID-safe trunk or treat experience.
Is there like a link you could send? Like, how do you get a QR code? Like, I'm not sure.
I love that question. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Let me show you FLOWCODE. It is very, very, very elegant. The reason why this is cool is because I actually had one that had my face, my little icon as the QR code. It's really expensive, but it's very pretty. So if you plan to use this and you plan to scale, you should have a budget. If you want to lead with generating revenue first, I don't think FLOWCODE is the one. But if you this is beautiful, beautiful stuff. You can change it to hearts. You can do whatever you want with it.
It's the functionality like the QR code, right? Basically.
Yeah, it's still the functionality of the QR code. The next thing, which people don't even know is coming, is video QR codes. But I'll let you guys know that in the next class. Another one is, I think just QR.io. So this one is, if it's not free, it's really cheap. QR.io. It's not as pretty as you can see, but it allows you to create, if you wanted to create a V card, which is your contact information, you can do that. If you wanted to create a WhatsApp contact or just one direct link, you can do that. And it's just going to be black and the same squares that you see at every restaurant. Downside with QR codes is that people, when they see them, they just see a lot of abstract and it's not direct. It's not telling people what to do. with the picture, if you see a house on the QR code and it says shop here or something, you'll know that that's 4 houses. Like it'll give them some kind of leading indicator. When I was in New York, we were talking about ways to create videos for yourself, right? Ways to learn how to create new videos for yourself. I think one of the things that I said was, how many of you come up in search results when you search for your name? I think this is a really important topic. Yeah.
But the question on what websites do I come up, right?
Well, if somebody's typing your information, they're not going to have a website. They're not going to know where to go unless you're like directly in Facebook. But if you're directly in Facebook, you should come up on Facebook. If you're directly in Instagram, you should come up on Instagram. I think one thing a lot of people miss is that they're different across the board, and to try to hone that in and make sure that when someone is searching for you, they're searching for you exactly how you want to be found.
When you say across, you mean on same platforms, right? So like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, right? It's got to be concise.
I think that is one of the biggest misses when people are branding themselves. Yes. So I have Ian of Austin literally everywhere. If you go into Instagram GIFs right now, you can type Ian of Austin and stuff is going to come up. You can go on Google, you can type Ian of Austin, stuff is going to come up. Everywhere you go, there's going to be something that comes up. Flickr. Anybody use Flickr anymore? No. Imgur, Tumblr, it doesn't matter. Pinterest, it all says Ian of Austin because that was an intentional branding that I knew that nobody else would be able to use. Now, let's say you've started creating stuff all over the place and you're like, oh, I don't like that anymore. There's a delete me, and I'll find the actual link for it. So I just closed a $2 million buyer. She is a professional streamer for a living, and she did not want anybody to know anything about what she's doing outside of what she wants the world to see. And so we were sitting at the closing table and she was telling me about this privacy situation. So in Texas, if you purchase a home, it's public information. So people can find all that information about you. And so she's been really diligent. Her lawyers and her have been really diligent about removing that information. So there's a delete me app that gets rid of all of your content on social media except what you want to be out there, which is really great if you want to rebrand. So where I was going with that was the Google Knowledge Panel. At some point, you'll get to where if someone types in your information, it pulls up almost like a wiki of you on the side of Google. So if you type, let's say, what was it, Westchester real estate agent, who comes up right now? If you type best Manhattan realtor, who comes up right now? So just things to think about. And you look over to the right here, 1,340,000 results. That's a lot of results. It's crazy. It's crazy how much information is out there. Google Maps is one of the most powerful things out there when it comes to being found.
Don't tell them, Ian. That's the secret.
Listen, man, everything's a secret. Everything's a secret. The thing is, I can tell all the secrets, and 1% of people are going to do any of it, right?
That's very true.
So with this, I like taking people out to like coffee and tea, and I go into Google Maps and I sort it by places I've never been, which forces me to actually learn the area that I'm talking about, that I say that I know. And so when someone says, have you had Ethiopian food? I'd be like, I sure have. I've got 2 restaurants. Which one do you like? And they look at me like, oh, you do? Not like I'm a poser. So I end up going to these restaurants and I'll take maybe some video. What I need to do is upgrade and do a video review at the restaurant. But imagine you take some pictures, you take some videos, you upload it. And after doing that, I've hit, where's the number? Oh, at this point, it's 100. I think it's 100 million. Oh, that's a FLOWCODE QR, by the way. 100 million views on Google Maps by doing just that. So I'll go to the place, I'll take a couple pictures, and I'll upload it. Now, I don't know if you've seen this recent change. Google My Business was merged into Google Maps. Has everybody seen that happen?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you are big or were big on Google My Business, now it's merged into Google Maps. And I accidentally had the strategic advantage because I have 100 million views on Google Maps. And so now Google My Business.
How do you see how many views?
When you are on Google Maps, there should be a local guide option. And so if you go to any of these places, what happens, most people will go to these places and they'll start looking at images of food. Here's an example over to the right where I was in an apartment complex and I put an image of my business card. So if somebody's searching for that apartment complex, this image will come up with my little icon at the top at the apartment complex. So now I have an opportunity for, if not just branding, a lead. And I have closed business this way.
And how long does it stay there for, Ian?
Oh, for life, you know.
Just for life, okay.
Yeah. And for
how
free.
Much do you pay for it to post the?
I don't pay anything, man. I pay zero.
You pay zero and it stays there for life. So you have a free advertisement on Google and you pay absolutely zero for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's sweat equity, but here's the downside. The downside is that this phone number, like I've changed brokers since, the phone number is my personal line, all that sort of stuff. So it negates some of that tracking that John was talking about earlier, but I'm working on that. That's the next thing we talked about, controlling where your lead sources are coming from. How many of you are leveraging landing pages on Chime or in your CRM at all? Monica, how's that working out?
I've gotten a couple of leads from Google because I do have a business page on Google from your event that I learned about. The real thing right now is I'm just trying to figure out how to get more reviews on Google. I think that's the key. I have some Zillow reviews, all 5 stars and everything, but having those 5-star Google reviews I think is more valuable than the Zillow reviews.
I want to ask you guys, can I ask everyone a huge favor on this call?
I love it.
Yeah.
I know where it's going. Do it.
I'll send you the email. Can you guys give us a nice review on Google?
Sure.
Sure,
Yeah.
John. Can you repeat, John? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, can you give us a nice review on Google?
No doubt.
No doubt. Okay, I love it.
I don't know that everybody has posted their contact information in the chat, but if you do, John will make sure when he sends the email to also include all of our contact information for each other. And he's going to create probably a Facebook group so that we can get together and just continue pouring this information out. Am I right,
This
John?
is great, Ian. Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
actually added all my information there, so.
Perfect. Yeah, so this will also allow us some accountability to say, hey, did we go and leave each other reviews like we said? Because if we're not all elevating each other, then what are we really trying to do here, right?
I was thinking about a WhatsApp group, guys. Maybe better, than a Facebook. What do you guys think?
This is great. Both, actually, do both,
All right, Monica, why are you shaking your head?
Monica,
Just do a WhatsApp. Just do a WhatsApp. Do whatever you want. But I think a WhatsApp is enough.
So, I mean, this was so good. Did you guys get some value out of today's call? I get so much. I can't, forget to take notes.
Yeah, this was great. This is fantastic.
That's a lot of information.
Thank you so
A lot
much.
of information.
Valued information.
So yeah, I mean, this was awesome. I know we all get so many ideas, right? But like I said, the business plan is 2 parts, right? And my goal is for you guys is to have a complete business plan. So by the 3rd session, you have already everything and you can just execute, right? So we already have the part 1. You already know how many transactions you're going to do next year. Now let's pick the sources, whatever sources those are, right? And you have that in your business plan to fill it out. And let's write down the tactics and the strategies for each, right? So Monica, if you have a database, I know you have a social media, you might have Zillow, you might have open houses, and under each, I want you to break each down. And then I'll show you the app AIRTABLE, which I'll send you the links. I want you to start building the plan up so we can have a timeline on it as well. Monica's shaking her head. She'll do it. Tala's going to do it. Enrique's going to do it.
I'm going to do it.
Anthony's going to do it. I'm into that.
I'm going to try to do that.
Jill will try.
I'll try my best.
Attempt it. Lona's going to do her best. I love that.
We'll try my best.
Okay. So guys, it was good to see everyone. Okay. Let's get after it.
Yeah.
Only a few weeks left into the year. The next one is going to be November 1st. Okay. November 1st.
Have a good day, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Sounds good, guys. Okay. Take it easy.
Thank you.